Welcome to the Stop Dieting podcast, hosted by best-selling, award-winning author and renowned weight loss expert, David Medansky. If you struggle to lose weight or you've lost weight and gained it back, you'll want to listen each week. Each week, you will learn tips for healthy weight loss without going on a diet, without having to follow an exercise program, without counting calories, or having to purchase special meals or products. The Stop Dieting podcast is more than just about healthy and sustainable weight loss. You will also learn how you can have more energy, feel better, get rid of brain fog, and improve your overall health. Stay tuned for another informative and insightful episode. And if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe and share this with your friends.
Hi, this is David Medansky, host of Stop Dieting. Welcome to the next episode with our special guest today, Forbes Riley. Forbes is a National Fitness Hall of Fame inductee. She's also the queen of pitch. She's sold over $2 billion of product for Jack LaLanne in his juicer and also Montel Williams for his blender. So please welcome our special guest today, Forbes Riley.
Hello, hello. Hey, David, will you give me the ability to share my screen, and I will delight your audience with a really fun demo tape, because it's always, nice to hear that you've done all those things. But if a picture's worth 1,000 words, I think video's worth 1,000,000.
Yes, let me get there.
I should have asked that sooner.
I think you should be able to do it now.
I can. You know what? You want to do your intro again? I'll tell you why. 2.5 billion in product sales, not just the juicer and Montel. It's 2.5 in infomercials and live home shopping, would just probably make me better.
Okay. In infomercials?
Yeah, and then you can mention Jack and Montel, that's fine. Just probably reads better. And now that you did it once, you're going to do it even better.
Home shopping? That's what you want? Okay.
Yeah. Live, infomercials, home shopping.
Got it.
Whatever.
All right.
Let's do it again.
Welcome to our next episode of Stop Dieting. I'm your host, David Medansky. Today, our special guest is Forbes Riley. She's a National Hall of Fame inductee into the National Fitness Hall of Fame. And she's also sold $2.5 billion, that's with a B, dollars worth of merchandise in infomercials and on home shopping. She's known as the queen of pitch. To me, she's known as the lady with the golden heart. Please welcome Forbes Riley.
Oh, aren't you just such a sweetheart? You know what? I just adore you. I love that we've gotten to know each other through trainings and the books that you write. And, I'll take a second and just share a video of mine, because if they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, I think video's worth everything. Can you see that screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Audio Jungle.
Let's give it up for Forbes Riley!
The reason you don't have what you want is you don't know what it is.
I've grossed $2.5 billion by tweaking people's pitches on infomercials. You hear things differently than I do. I hear money every time somebody talks. I hear enrollment, engagement.
Hi, I'm Forbes Riley, and today we've got a great product for you. Take a look at this.
She's got me working out, or what are these called?
Called a spin gym.
She launched her multi-million-dollar company by mortgaging her house and her kids' education fund. She knew it was going to happen.
I think pitch is everything. I don't care what kind of product that you've got. If you don't know how to pitch or articulate it, you will go nowhere.
I coach CEOs of Fortune 100 companies who have stood there and told me, Forbes, you pitch my company better than my marketing team. You don't get to sit home and wait for the phone to ring. No, it doesn't really work that way. You write down action steps. You get a mentor. You find someone who's done what you've done, and you ask them how they did it. If you dream it and you hold it to be true, you keep driving towards that. You keep talking about that dream, and actually you keep taking action, and then one day you're like, oh my God, how did I do that? How did I do that? That's the big question, and how can you do that? And to your topic today, and the name of your show is that I spent most of my life struggling with my weight. And so, and I don't think it shows there, but I will tell you what, behind all the big smiles, a lot of unhappiness when it came to that word diet.
Yeah, that's diet to me is a 4-letter word. And what I tell people is if you want to lose weight, never go on a diet. Instead, change your diet. And there's the difference between dieting and the food you eat, which is our diet.
No, it's totally true. And for me, I changed the word diet to be decisions I eat today. But I'll tell you what, David, and for a lot of your listeners, they may fall into my category. It wasn't about the food. I know the difference between a broccoli and a brownie. I've just had an emotional letdown, and damn it, you can't get in between me and the brownie. And that's what a lot of it, I had to do some serious mental changing to really understand what was important, why it was important, and to let go some of that horrible past that was a trigger when it came to food.
Not only that, a lot of us know what to do, we just don't do it. And your daughter McKenna experienced that over the summer, I believe. She was suffering from dehydration.
Well, that's actually not that we don't know what to do sometimes, and I'll give a lot of credit to her. She's 19 years old, and she was just so committed to a project. I did the same thing, which is so weird that we both had a similar situation and ended up in the hospital. But about 5 years ago, I was going through some massive stress, and work was so focused that I wasn't drinking enough. And I got a kidney stone and ended up, and you have to be so careful that you can't let what's below your neck go. It is really, really important that it functions, it moves, it breathes, it has fun, it does all kinds of things. And if you stop taking care of it, it will stop being there for you. Uh-oh.
Exactly. And you had the, I guess, privilege and honor of meeting Jack LaLanne and promoting his juicer.
One of the best, most amazing men on the planet, current company excluded. I was very lucky. I did a lot of infomercials. In fact, one of the things that I've been talking a lot about is Body by Jake, who gave me my start in television. And we sold fitness products for 5 years on this cable TV show called Fit TV, and that helped launch everything. And then when I met Jack and LaLanne, I was already doing infomercials, and I had just given birth to my twin babies at 42. I had a little bit of a belly, but it's funny because I carried full-term twins. I had a massive 65-inch waist and pushed out 2 7-pound babies. 10 minutes. I was large. And at some point, I was doing home shopping, and I sell fitness products. And I called my producer because I had a date over in the UK to sell a fitness product about 10 weeks after I gave birth. And I said to her, I'm really sorry, but I'm so big around that if I gain any more weight, I'm going to fall over. And I won't be able to make it. She paused and said, look, I gave birth to my twins in the middle of the Bosnian War. Figure it out and get your ass on a plane. Like, wow. And I will tell you, because of that, I was really driven. And then the Jack LaLanne opportunity came up, and my kids were still really, really little. And I walked in and I met Jack and Elaine LaLanne. And if you do not know them, you've got to Google Jack LaLanne. He is the godfather of fitness. He had the very first health club. He started the first instant breakfast, created the Smith machine. I had the privilege of hanging out with this amazing man who at like 5'1" was very humble and very sweet and married to this beautiful woman. He lived to be 96 years old, had a little heart issue. She is still around. She just turned 96. He's been gone about 10 years. And I'll tell you what, I'm so privileged that they are my kids' godparents. And I just feel like I was touched by an angel. And part of my mission is to move their story forward.
That's awesome. And you also got to meet Montel Williams and promote his blender.
I did. It's been a crazy life. I'm going to see if I can pull up some fun photos, because some of these people, we're saying names that they don't remember. It's really interesting how generations change. But I've been very lucky to have met some of the best people in the world. The reason I get to do this is, having struggled with my weight so much, I invested a lot of time and energy going on all kind of diets, going on all kind of programs, became very knowledgeable. I never won any fitness competitions, but I could sell more product than almost anyone else. That's what got me in the National Fitness Hall of Fame.
And you're got Spin Gym.
I do. So hang on. Let me see if I can pop in here a couple of pictures that might just delight you guys. So here is a beautiful photo of Jack LaLanne. You guys see that? There's Jack and his wife. He's 88 in that photo. There's little Riker and McKenna on my lap. And that was an amazing historic moment when we shot that first juicer, which, by the way, went on to gross $1 billion. Like, wow, really? I know it sold for 8 years in 80 countries. Now, are you a fan of juicers?
Not really. And the reason I say that is because most people don't realize the pulp is what you also need. And Jack would use the pulp for baking, so he would get the fiber from it. And most people who get the juice, that's all they get is the juice without the fiber.
Which is kind of an interesting thing, isn't it? But I will tell you that you still need the nutrients and the vitamins that you can get in raw vegetables and raw fruit. Yep. That most people never consume enough. So it's an interesting conversation about what you should be doing. But if you're eating things that grow in nature, and there's beautiful Montel Williams with our blender. And Montel was interesting because he has to live this way. He's been fighting MS for a very, very long time. And he carries his green juice with him wherever he goes, his green drink. And yeah, and that became, well, make sure you get your pulp in there too. But phenomenal to hang out with these giants of the industry.
Yeah, what's interesting is Jack was a student of Paul Bragg.
Yes, he was.
And Paul emphasizes to drink distilled water, and Jack emphasizes to drink spring water. So we have two different opinions from two different experts. So,
well, hang on a second. That's an interesting statement right there. Do you know that you're going to get different opinions from every expert? Because I'm studying with somebody right now. I've got two different experts. One is a plant-based, no oil fanatic. The other is also probably plant-based, but oil on everything. And you're like, which one of you is right? I don't know.
I don't either. What I usually tell people is if you have a preference, drink distilled water. If you don't, drink the spring water. And if you don't, drink reverse osmosis water. So,
well, you have to be really careful of the source too. Paul Bragg was very fanatical. He's a fasting master.
Yeah.
I know if you drink distilled water, you pull a lot of the bad things out of you. I think if you do anything for a period of time, you can get extraordinary results. Now, I'll tell you what, again, the universe has been very nice to me because I also get to sit at the feet of a master. I'm in love with a gentleman for the last 5 years who is a unbelievable bodybuilder. He's in amazing shape. And if you look at Joshua here, that's a picture of my man looking incredibly fit and super sexy. Well, I'll tell you something that's interesting is if you go back here on his Instagram page, there he still looks pretty good. But in January of 2022, he got hit by a car on his motorcycle and it shattered everything. He shattered his foot. He had some surgeries, his back, his ribs. And he said to me, this was taken June of 2020. He said, I'm going to be Mr. Olympia. And I'm like, oh, have you looked in the mirror? And this is a year later. He built his muscle back. And the interesting thing is he did not win the competition. He looked great, but he limped on stage. He was in a great deal of pain, and it showed on his face. And so he's not used to being a loser. And that was going to be his last competition. He was 44, and he came back and he said, I'm going to do it again. I'm like, do what again? He's like, I'm going to be even bigger. And so he just entered a contest. I don't know if there's a picture. Well, there are his 2 gold medals. He did it 2 weeks ago. And but there he is holding a spin gym. But I'm very proud to have watched his journey. And for his journey, it is you eat certain diets at certain periods of time. Like you can change up your diet. I think. Yeah. By the way, I'm going to ask you to put him on your show. He just launched his new course on how to build your muscle. He just did a whole diet thing yesterday on his plan for keto. He's very specific, but he was a vegetarian for a while. He was keto for a while. He does things for a period of time, sees the result on his own body. Whereas most of us think that diet is a horrible word. No, he just changes it up based on what he needs, the results he wants. I've never seen anybody do it quite like him and be so effective.
Oh, that'd be awesome to have him as a guest. I think the audience would really enjoy him.
Good.
And as you know, I climbed Kilimanjaro in June.
So how was that? I have not talked to you since then.
It was amazing. I got within 4 hours of the top summit. I did all 8 days. And unfortunately, altitude sickness got to me. And so I wasn't able to go. I started from base camp. We went about 4 hours, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I just talked to the guide, Robert, and I said, I don't know if I can make it any further. He goes, are you sure? He says, you're doing so well. I said, I have headache and nausea and I'm overheated. And he goes, oh no, altitude sickness, you got to go back. And I was the oldest at 67 doing it. So I was really proud to get within 4 hours of the top summit. And I had promised that I was going to take Spin Gym up there with me. And I did, except I didn't get to the top summit and I wasn't able to get a photo. So I just want to, promote this because it's so phenomenal.
Well, I love you, but you know what's so funny? Come on, dude. 8 days of trekking at 67 is the summit. I think that's a funny thing about goals, you guys. That what you reached, the extra 4 hours, and I just want to grant this as a gift to you, make no difference whatsoever. It does if you want it to, or you go, wow, that's something that most people will never even it's not even in their scope of thinking to do all that work, to put all that energy in there. And so I'm wildly proud of you.
Well, thank you. Did you get a chance to look at the photos I sent to you?
No, I did not. And forgive me, I just got back from 4 weeks in Greece. I have mounds of things to look at. I have to massively apologize. I have not. Did you email them to me?
I believe so. I'll send them again so you'll have them.
Yes, dude, I totally want to see this. All right, let's take a moment. And another side of how we know each other is you are an insane book writer. Dude, I'm writing a book right now. It's taking me forever. I don't know how you, in fact, I need to call you off camera and talk to you for a minute because I am struggling. But I, how many years ago, maybe 25, 30 years ago, had a resistance band slip off my foot and shatter my nose. And I made a vow to myself that I was going to find the ultimate handheld product that people could do. And I was just on a quest to find something. And for many years, I looked at there have been a lot of crazy products out there. And I was over in the UK one day working at QVC, and a magician walked in, and he had something like this, not exactly this, although this is based on the world's oldest toy. And I touched it and I was like, I don't understand it. And he goes on TV and he sells about 1,000 of them as an office de-stressor. And I thought, I don't get it because you have to wind it up. And then when I finally did get it, and it's like, oh, wait, here. And it spun, I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest fitness product I've ever touched. He said, no, it's not a fitness product. It's an office de-stressor. I said, no. And then I had this vision. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You're doing arms and abs and everything came downloaded to me in a way that to this day, I'm not sure I understand. And I said to him at that moment, how do I get this? And he said, well, you could have this one. I said, no. Tell me about your company. He's like, I don't like the companies and I just don't want to, I want to stop doing this. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm your girl. And he said, if you sell 25,000 in the first year, I'll give you the company, give me a tiny royalty. 2.2 million later. And I'm obsessed with this. I'm obsessed. I've been obsessed for almost 14 years now because there is nothing like this. And Joshua used it backstage to warm up with. We all use it. I've got people in wheelchairs using it. And what we don't understand just by looking at it is because this spins, that center disc is rotating at 125,000 RPM. I have a TED talk from Stanford University on the spin gym. And what they use it for in third world countries is they make this out of paper, 2 bamboo handles, and some fishing wire. They slap a vial of blood right here, and it spins so fast that it becomes a $2 centrifuge. What it does for your muscles, though, is it vibrates all the way through and all the way around every time you pull it. There's not another product like this. And so I know that you love it as a fitness guru. I appreciate and honor you. It's a very affordable price. And if you're sitting on a Zoom call, you're stuck at home, you're in a train, a plane, an automobile, or a desk, oh my gosh, you have to try it.
Definitely highly recommended. I use it all the time when I'm sitting at the desk. I
do too. I've got them in every single color. I will tell you, it's why at 62, I think that I have arms and a size smaller than I wore in high school. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I look at my mom, and I have a picture in one of my presentations where my mom is 10 years younger than I am in my photo, and there's no comparison. And I remember saying that when I was younger. I love you very much, but you're diabetic, you're overweight, fried food, fast food, cigarettes. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's it. And then you also have your journal for, your food journal for eating.
Well, and it goes along with your idea, because what David and I firmly believe on is there's no such thing as diet. What you eat every day is your diet. And I believe, so 2 things for me. That journal is called a journal for what you eat and for what's eating you. Now, I know that you lost a substantial amount of weight, over 80 pounds, I believe.
50 pounds.
All right, well, now it's 80. Just know. I'll tell you what, and then you have a reason why you put that on and a reason why you took that off.
Yes.
You think that everyone needs to have a reason why they're committed to their body. And you can make it up whatever you want. But here's the thing you need to remember. If you have no accountability and no consequences, you will not succeed. How do I know this? Raise your hand if you graduated high school. Yeah, we all did. You know why? Yeah. Because you were threatened.
Yeah.
Literally, somebody threatened you. If you don't get a good grades, you're not getting a car. You're not getting into college. You're not going to get anything in life. Your whole life. So you studied so that you got these good grades in courses, whether you like them or not. And if you didn't get good grades, your assumption about yourself is that you were less than, which ironically is really sad because it turns out that not everybody learns the same way. And so sitting in class is not right for everybody. But
well, that's interesting you say that. And the reason I bring it up now is because I don't know if you remember, I'm also a twin.
Right.
And my twin brother was a straight A student. and I wasn't. And he would sit and study and do the homework, and I would wait for the teacher to show me how to do it because I was a little lazy.
And now look at you. How many books have you written?
I've written 6 books on casino craps. I've written 3 novels, and I wrote 3 books so far on weight loss. The last one is Break the Chains of Dieting. It's won 9 awards. It's endorsed and recommended by Jack Canfield, co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. And I'm just finishing up my 4th one, which is called Stop Dieting, Start Thinning, because I want to create a new movement for I'm Thinning to reverse people being overweight and obese.
And you were the slow twin? Hello.
Yeah, and I'm also a former lawyer.
You know, I give you a lot of credit for being a recovering lawyer. But so now you say, you know, everyone says on January 1st, I'm going to lose those 15 pounds. And if you've gained 20 by February, nobody cares. We don't. But do you care? And it's a funny thing about making commitments to yourself. I think the reason that Joshua does so well and why he's still competing is that's his motivation. If you're going to get on stage half naked and have people judge you, you want to show up looking great. For most of us, if we're not going to a reunion or a wedding, yeah, all right, I can eat the cake, I'd have the donut. I got to tell you guys, take off your clothes, look in the mirror, and decide, would you sleep with that person?
Well, exactly. And my reason, as you know, is at age 61, my doctor told me, based on lab results and being significantly overweight, I had a 95% chance for a fatal heart attack. And he gave me 2 options: lose the weight or find a new doctor. And he suggested I find a new doctor because he'd been after me for 8 years to lose the weight, and I never did anything. I was like most people. I procrastinate. I'll wait till Monday, after the holidays, after vacation, after the company picnic, whatever excuse I can come up with to delay it. And so what I tell people now is, if you're not going to do it for yourself, think of your employees. If you're a business owner, think of your spouse, your kids, your grandkids. How is it going to affect them if something, you know, happens because of your health, whether you have a heart attack, a stroke, or worse, you die? I mean, what's going to happen to these people? And more people are willing to do something for others than their own selves.
Isn't that funny? Yeah, I know. Well, I'm hoping that your show inspires a whole lot of people.
Well, I appreciate that. And you're also now Dr. Forbes Riley.
I did receive an honorary doctorate, and I have a beautiful award over there from the President of the United States. I have a Lifetime Achievement Award for services that I've done over the years, which is just amazing. So yeah, the doctorate is in entrepreneurship and philanthropy, and it comes down to showing up when you don't want to. Longevity. I turned 62 this year. I've been doing this for a very long time. And as Ziegler said, you know, if you give enough people what they want, they'll give you what you want. And so I think that's a couple of things. One, financially, if you keep helping people. But 2, if you're in a funk yourself and you're not quite sure and you're frustrated or down, go help somebody else. Odds are you're better off than you think. And the more you give, I've learned, the more you get.
Exactly. What piece of advice could you give the audience for taking better care of themselves? What one piece of advice would you suggest?
You know, maybe it's go watch a movie. Watch, you know, I'm in one of these movies called Supercharge Me. It's the antithesis to Supersize Me. When I watched Supersize Me and I saw the guy who started to eat hamburgers from McDonald's for 30 days and his blood sugar and his diabetes, everything just kicked in. He got very unhealthy in just 30 days. If I watch Knives Over Forks or I watch What the Health, and you start to see chickens crammed into coops, kind of pecking at each other and pooping all over each other, and cows that have been steroided up one side and down the other, go have a hamburger or a chicken burger after that. And so I think it's like taking the pill in the Matrix. And I know you and I have experienced this. Yeah. If you don't take any pill, you go to the fast food, you don't care, you eat the fried crap, you have the ice cream, you eat whatever, right? But if you take the other pill and you start to see how bad frying is for that your body doesn't recognize oil when it's been fried, and that's what causes cancer, or you look at your blood compared to healthy blood, or you realize that all the ice cream and the milk and the stupid things, or the alcohol and the sugar, and you go, whoa, wait a second. You never live your life the same way. And so one of the things you mentioned, Paul Bragg, earlier, a life-changing thing that I did, which is very affordable, was I went on the Master Cleanse many, many, many years ago. And that is simply a couple of day diet of water, natural lemons, and grade B maple syrup. And I had my own little way of doing it. I ended up on that, David, for 17 days. You're only supposed to do like 7 or 8. And while I was on that, I had this sense of superiority. I'm like, I'm superior to food. I could see fat in your eyes just changed. I put many people on it just for over a weekend. And when you stop all the insanity around you, it's like, why am I doing that? Why when I turn around every bottle in the middle of the aisle of the grocery store, does it say high fructose corn crap? It does. They all do. And then
what's interesting is you read the ingredients. Most people don't even get that far because it's a very fine print at the bottom.
Get a pair of glasses. No, but I'm very serious. I know they do that. There's 62 different names for sugar in the back of it.
Yeah.
As cancer loves to live in sugar. Well, then let's feed you more sugar. Let's get our kids amped on sugar before they go to school. Let's get them amped on sugar at lunchtime and wondering why they can't sit still and running around. So the big thing is decide what's important in your life. Decide that you've got a body. And as UB Blake said, when he was 95 years old, he said, if I'd known I was going to live this long, I would have taken much better care of myself.
Yeah. And I believe it was either Jim Rome or Dr. Bob Martin, because they both said it, is if you wear out your body, where else are you going to live?
I said that.
Oh, you said that.
No, but it's true. It's something I've lived by forever. And yes, and yes. And so one of the things that you want to do that's easy, start aligning yourself with people who are healthy. If you live with people who like fatty foods, you're going to be fat. You just are. It's hard because, have a bite. This is my mother. Come on, you have a little more. Oh, she loved me with food. She died out. She was 265 pounds, diabetic, and she only got to 70. Don't do that.
Yeah.
There's a lot more reasons to eat. And I think Jack LaLanne said, don't live to eat, eat to live.
Exactly. And most people don't look at food as fuel for their body. They look at for comfort, for socializing, for relieving stress. Very few people think of food as this is their fuel.
Well, I'll tell you what, I still do Forbes Factors. I still teach. If you are still frustrated and you eat because you want to stuff down emotions, man, I love coaching people out of that because I've been there, I beat it, and I've taken thousands of people with me. So, if you go to ForbesRiley.com, all my links are there. I don't want to see people suffer. I really don't.
That's great. Can you give that contact information again?
It's just my name, ForbesRiley.com. I have a whole bunch of trainings and classes and free things at that website. Just check it out. If you want to get a spin gym, you want to get in touch with me, I'm here. I love teaching and coaching, and it's been probably one of the best parts of my life that I can afford to do this now.
And you actually do what you teach. It isn't do as I say, it's do as I do.
Dude, did you see the man that I live with? I'm living with a 7-time world champion athlete who's 17 years younger than me. I don't have a choice. Want to talk about the consequences? If I don't keep up my appearance, I'm going to look like his mother and not his wife.
That's a good reason.
Yeah, it's a great reason. Dad and I have two 19-year-old twins, and I don't want to be their grandmother.
That's awesome. I was going to ask one more question and it kind of slipped my mind.
Oh, whatever it is that you want. I will just chit chat for a second while you're thinking about it. It's funny how David and I learned to meet each other, and I am very enamored with him. I'm glad that you're watching his show. I have an entire shelf in my library devoted. David's written that many books, the craps books, the other books, the diet books. He's very prolific and quite a resource. And so if you're listening to his show, you're in the right place.
Well, I appreciate that. And so again, I recommend Forbes Riley, and you can reach out to her at ForbesRiley.com, get the Spin Gym, get her food journal because it's incredible. I've read it. I use it.
I love you for that. Thank you, my darling. Well, I very, very much appreciate you. And you guys stay fit and healthy because the only other choice is not worth doing.
Thanks so much for being a guest today. I really appreciate your taking the time. I know how busy your schedule is.
Thank you, my darling. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Stop Dieting podcast. Remember to like and subscribe so you won't miss a single episode to get more healthy eating and lifestyle tips. Motivate and inspire others to be healthy by sharing with your friends.